Boom, baby. Welcome, everybody. Maté talk time. Good to be before you all. Set myself up. We begin. No announcements at the end, so I'm just going to do a quick announcement now in the beginning, and that is that this coming Sunday, the first episode of the JAYNE Discovery series is coming out. If you want to join me, and I'll explain more if you're unsure about what that is. If you want to join me, you jump on the JAYNE website, use the code NFC10, you'll get a 10% discount, and I would recommend that you order this tasting menu, which is the atmospheric, floral, and fruity. I'll cover off 6 fragrances in that episode and then 6 more in the following episode. The idea behind the Discovery series, and I've done a few and I'll make reference to it again in a little while, is that you and I get to experience fragrances together. I always say in real time, but essentially I film it, you watch it, but I'm talking to you on screen as if you are with me in the room. And I do make a point of accentuating why the fragrances are unique, what makes them different. If sometimes there may be the same note is being used, but it's always exciting to see how it's done in a particular way and then compare that to another fragrance down the line. So I try to make it as engaging as possible. I don't want to use the word masterclass because I am not a master, I'm just a perfume lover. But essentially that's the essence of it. It's more than just smell this, smells like citrus, blah, blah, blah. It's about really unboxing things together in real time. Boom, so that's what's gonna be happening. Now last week, for those who may have missed, I did do a vanilla lineup. These are unusual vanillas, meaning that it's not the classic gourmand vanilla. There are some beautiful vanilla fragrances. If you want to see those, this episode here covers off, some really beautiful vanillas that you may enjoy. Whereas last week's episode was more unusual, like, things like Trastevere, which is a beautiful combination of a pastry-like element, but not gourmand, that then dries down to vanilla. So where it starts, where it ends, 2 different places. I'm going to do that today with rose. And one of the questions that was raised in the 10 in 10 is, can we put forward some fragrances that it would be good for men and women? All right, so the ones here, easy men and women. So there's maybe 1 or 2 that are a bit more feminine leaning. So some boys who are not comfortable with florals in their fragrance might feel not so sure about it, but there's a lot in here, and in the 6, a boy or a man who hasn't really had rose or florals in their fragrances can actually jump on it. So let me begin with one that is a pure monster. It's just been released and it's just gorgeous. Now I need to precurse this conversation by saying that my wife, Sandra, does not like rose fragrances. And yet this is a rose fragrance. Actually, Sandra is my in-house Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, because if I say, try out this beautiful fragrance, it's fantastic because it has, I don't know, incense or oud or rose or vanilla, any of those, and she's like, bleh, don't like it. And then she'll pick up a fragrance, if I don't say anything, spray it and go, wow, this is gorgeous. What is this? I'm like, okay. So this is one, new release, BDK. This is one that uses the rose in the heart of it, and it is, not that the rose is hiding, but it's not a full, it's not a rose forward fragrance. Sometimes we have this unfair, and I feel sorry for the rose, this unfair bias towards the rose note because we think that it's old fashioned, or that, our grandmothers used to use it, or it's heavily used in creams and things of that nature. So it has this very exaggerated floral scent profile to it. So here, what I love, what these guys have done is that it opens with a gorgeous, sweet pear note. But the pear note is not over the top. It's not, I love pear in a fragrance, and I can detect it quite with that juicy, almost apple-like, and it's very, it's fruity and it's sweet. It's a divine scent profile. Whereas in IMPADIA, the pear is there, but it's not that over-the-top presence of it. Then as it moves through, that rose definitely comes forward. And then for me, that dry down is really where the full magic of it happens. And that is that you get that sandalwood, that touch of oud that's in the fragrance. And for me, even though it's not listed, I get this almost raspberry note that runs through the fragrance. I have tried to sort of push aside the fact that it's such a beautiful pink bottle and gives you the impression that maybe there is a raspberry or strawberry note, and just try to sort of focus on the actual fragrance. And to me, I do get a very gentle, fruity raspberry note mixed in with that rose and then that sandalwood and a little bit of that oud. Now, I bought this fragrance for my wife. I don't believe in, and those who know me, in you know, fragrance for men or women. You wear whatever you like. I like wearing everything. So I haven't started wearing the fragrance because at the moment Sandra is literally ODing on this. And I don't know if you, I mean, it's not that old. I'm probably about less than a month, and you can't see it too well. But anyway, she has hit this fragrance hard. I mean, every time when I come home, I can smell this in the air. If we go out, I can smell this in the air. If we go somewhere special, I can smell this in the air. The great thing about this fragrance is that it has incredible presence, great longevity, great staying power. The sillage projection is phenomenal. This, if you want something that is super versatile, meaning that it's a great day fragrance or a great evening going out, then IMPADIA works. Now, one of the things I have been reading is that this is a love child between Delina and Guidance. Yes and no. So I am getting some of those facets, in particular on the dry down, that very Guidance-esque. I don't get the Delina pop, by the way. So yes, there is a pear note and there's some fruitiness in the thing, but I don't get that same sort of correlation. The Guidance, yes, in the sense that it does have that rose sandalwood sort of pairing. But one thing that for me that is very distinct with Guidance is that hazelnut nuttiness that the fragrance has. I don't get it here at all. So I had a friend once tell me, because well, it wasn't quite a friend, it was a person that I wanted to work with. I needed them to sign a non-dispute, what is it, NDA, I think they're called. And he was rolling his eyes, and he basically said, look, I'll sign it, but know that unless you're about to prove to me that there is life on Mars, everything else has been done before. So does it remind me? Yes, there are elements of it, but is it its own beast? I think it is. I also think that this has great presence when it comes to its, as a fragrance. My best thing, and this is what I always say to people, just go out, test it for yourself. If you like it, cool. If you don't, that is cool too. Now the next one, but just, you know, I have not started, and this is why I sprayed it on card, because Sandra is fully enjoying that, and I don't want to disrupt, because I'm enjoying the scent profile in the air, knowing that that's something that my wife is enjoying. Now the other one that Sandra, because again, she doesn't like rose, has been destroying, that you can see. I mean, this is Sandra's easy reach fragrance. Jardins de MISFAH, NUIT NOMADE is the brand. This is a fantastic, for me, this is a fantastic entry-level brand. If you're brand new to niche, they have an incredible collection and something for everybody. They're not overtly complex. Look, they have beautiful movement and presence when it comes to the fragrance, but they're not ones where I have a rating system, new recruit, veterans, or semi-pros, etc. So a new recruit can comfortably come in here and enjoy and appreciate these beautiful fragrances. So this is one that I wear for myself too. Mind you, I started wearing this until Sandra started to, I guess, adopt it as her own. Again, this is her easy reach. If she's getting out of the house or we're gonna do something quickly, wants to put on some perfume, she'll just go up, 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 and this is the one that she wears. What I love about this fragrance here is the rose is hiding in plain sight. In the base of it, or in the heart of it, there is a rose absolute, and there's also a rose essence. I think there's two different, it's actually listed as two different ingredient or two different notes. But it's interesting, you don't detect that rose until much deeper into the dry down. What you get on that opening is these wonderful, spicy, oriental style notes. There is a sense of dryness. And then there is this divine caramel, juicy, date-like accord that's been created. It's a very transformative fragrance. The moment you spray, you can see or feel that you're in a different location. I did do a discovery series on this. I'll show it to you guys. So this is the NUIT NOMADE discovery set. Gorgeous setup. You know, so again, the way that these guys have done their fragrances, great for those who are new to niche. 10 fragrances. I did do 2 episodes, so you can also get this. I've put in the comment So I can't remember whether it's NFC or NFC 10 that you can use to actually get this at a 10% discount, plus you'll get free delivery anywhere in the world. These guys are awesome. Now, Jardin de MISFAH, as I mentioned, it does have this transformative element to it where you spray and you're taken somewhere. There is these spices on that opening, and for me, I had an opportunity to travel through Turkey, and I get this very tea-like quality to it. So not like a black tea. It's more of a fruity spiciness that I get from the actual fragrance. As the fragrance then begins to dry down, you are getting this wonderful rose. But again, it is definitely, it's genuinely hiding in plain sight, to the point where Sandra had been wearing this for a while, and all of a sudden, I don't know whether she caught a whiff of herself or whether she smelt it on me, but she's like, hang on a second, I'm smelling rose. And I'm like, normally, like I said, I'd keep my mouth shut when it comes to notes. And she's like, does this have rose in it? Like, almost like an accusation. How dare you? How dare you give me something with rose in it? But she's past that now. She loves it for what it is. As a fragrance to go out, as a day fragrance, when it comes to its presence and longevity, it's phenomenal. You're getting more than 8+ hours. Sea agent projection is in that very confident moderate. So one that I would strongly recommend. If you want to know more, I went to a lot more detail. You can watch this episode and you can get more of a breakdown on how the fragrance evolves. And actually, I'm wearing it today. I'm smelling, I love the opening. There is this divine sweet date, caramel, but the cardamom and this spicy nutmeg, it's just gorgeous. Anyway, in the dry down. Yeah, so you're still getting facets of those spices, but that rose is definitely present. It's a gorgeous fragrance to wear, one that makes you just happy to have on you. All right, now the other one that I love wearing and cannot get enough of, I'm gatekeeping this one from you guys. I haven't told you this for quite some time. And there's two reasons why I haven't shared this particular fragrance. One, well, why two reasons? I don't know. Okay. One, the clear reason is every time I bring up Bop FLORAÍKU, I get comments going, overrated, beep, bop, boop, and then, people are making comments about it. So, you know what? If you don't want to know about it, I won't tell you. But I was wearing this yesterday. This was my Sunday statement maker, and I'll tell you more what that means. This, as a rose fragrance, is knock out of the park. This is, so yeah, I guess in a way I have been gatekeeping because I haven't said too much about this fragrance. It's called In the Dark. It is this wonderful blend. So this rose it sort of breaks off into 3 different areas. 1, you have the spicy element in the fragrance. 2, you get this wonderful floral-like quality to it. And then 3, there is this sharp citrus vibrancy about it. Now, those facets start at the opening, and obviously that citrus burst comes out more, but it still plays. It's a fresh rose take, It still stays within the fragrance, even on the dry down. It's just a gorgeous fragrance. Now, for me, I get a lime-like quality to it. So this lime sort of happiness, this, but also zinginess too. Now, there is no lime. What I've been reading when preparing for today, what there is on that opening is a blend between a lemon and a peppermint note. I don't get the peppermint, so I don't get that sort of mintiness out of it. For me, maybe it's that lemon peppermint sort of interplay that is creating that lime. I'm thinking also like a mojito. So it has that kind of sort of vibrance, zest to it. The rose is green, spicy, and sharp. So unlike that classic rose where it's very floral and heavy and plump almost, here it's this crisp. It's like a crisp air, like a bright morning, and the air is cool, but the sun's out, and you're still feeling that vibrance in the air. That's what it's like. It's this beautiful. It's just it makes you wake up. It's arresting. And then the incense note, and the incense is not your classic ecclesiastical style, very heavy, very gothic. None of that. There is a vibrance to this fragrance all around. The imagery on the on the cap here, and this is a part that I don't like, all right? So this is a part, I'm being very precious. It's meant to be fireworks. For me, fireworks needs to be more, you know, sparkly and bright and star-like. But these bubbles, these are more like, it looks to me more like a bubble bath, to be honest. So these bubbles are representing fireworks. And the idea is it's very much aligned to that, in that, for me, this is an olfactory dance between those notes, similar to what fireworks would be as a visual dance in the sky. So this fragrance is divine. Now, my Sunday statement maker. I wore it yesterday. I went to, we go to church, and I caught up with a good friend of mine at church. We're talking, and if I go to an event, I do spray on the back of my neck. Traditionally, I always spray on my solar plex, my stomach, my arm. I had done those three, but if I go to an event, I always spray on the back of my neck, and that's because maybe it's the vanity in me. When I hug someone and say hello or give them a kiss on the cheek or whatever it may be, they're closest to the fragrance and they can detect that. Anyway, talking to this man, and a good friend of mine loves perfumes, knows that I am the niche fragrance collector. All of a sudden, he's like, oh, he did this oh sound. And he pulled me forward, smelled the back of my neck because he knew that there was fragrance there. And he's like, bro, that's gorgeous. So that was my first compliment. Deeper in the day, this is probably now 5 hours. So that occurred about 2 hours in, 3 hours in from spraying. Then 5 hours deeper, 6 hours deeper, Sandra and I went for a walk. It was a beautiful day here in Melbourne. And Sandra's like, wow, gorgeous fragrance. I really, really love that one. And then of an evening, I did do an extra spray. So in full disclosure, I went to see my son and his family. It would have been now 7:30. And I did one more bop just on my chest, just as a refresher, because I know that my son loves fragrances and I know that he loves this one. So, and again, gave him an embrace. And the first thing is like, oh, good one. That's a really good one. So here's a fragrance which just has great presence. All right. So it has, I don't know, it's just gorgeous. It's a really spectacular fragrance. For those people who want to give FLORAIKU a hard time, by all means. But if you want a fragrance that is a great statement maker, then I'd recommend that one to you. Boom. All right, next one. Doing good for time. Yes. All right, next one. So I'm going to give a bit of a shout out to Aussies now. So we're going to go two Aussie houses that I absolutely adore. I've been following one of them, which is has been around for a little bit longer, and that's MIHAN Aromatics. I do love these guys. I love the way that they represent fragrance. I know that they're expanding more overseas. This has been a bit of a, you know, really a wonderful kept secret here in Australia. So us Aussies have been enjoying all things MIHAN Aromatics. This one here is their latest release. It's called Sinful Rose. And again, here's a rose done in a very different way. There is more of that classical rose scent profile to it, but it's not floral and definitely not female leaning at all. So this is something that a man can easily wear. Obviously, because of the rose note, the woman can also feel very comfortable in it. But for boys who are a little bit sort of unsure, want to walk in gently into a rose fragrance, I would recommend to you Sinful Rose. What I love here is that, interestingly, it has rose on the opening, it has rose in the heart. However, it's not a very rose-forward fragrance. Rose is distinct, all right, so don't get me wrong. Rose is very distinct, but it's not this, you know, bouquet. In fact, it's very dark. It's a very, what did I write? Because I wrote, it's a very dark, oh, it's an after hours. It's a very dark after hours style of rose. It has this wonderful woody sort of, the name is Sinful Rose. So I think the idea is that it's meant to be something that's a little bit on the sensual side, a bit more on the darker side, not something that's so apparent, something that's a little bit more like under the cover of night, essentially. I'm trying to remember where okay, here it is. See, It's different. I'm deeper in the dry down now. So on the opening, you are getting more of the rose facets, but now on that dry down, I'm getting a lot more of a powdery woodiness coming from the fragrance. Interestingly, there is no, and I did also define this as a powdery rose, but there's no, from what I can see, any powdery notes like, you know, an iris or a violet or anything of that nature. But it does have this sort of beautiful powdery softness to the fragrance. If I can define it quickly, it's definitely a woody rose. I think that's the best way to sort of put it into category. So and now in the dry down, the woodiness seems to be more apparent than that rose facet of it. When it comes to, again, MIHAN aromatics. So the beautiful thing about these guys is that they are quietly potent. So these are fragrances unlike, take Suspiro for instance. You spray that and it has this enormous scent cloud, big push, you know, just really like muscles popping out everywhere. And yes, you walk in, people can detect this fragrance, great staying power, 12 plus hours. Here, it's the opposite. It's this quiet, confident. It's almost like someone who you look at and you think, oh, well, they're dressed really drabby-like, but all of a sudden they're getting into this kick-ass Porsche, you know? So there's more to this than just what meets the initial eye. It doesn't have huge push. I would put it in a confident moderate. So it never goes into a body scent, but it never does any room filling or anything of that nature. But 12 plus hours without a problem. You wake up, and I'll go on more, you wake up in the morning and you will be still detecting a MIHAN on your skin. In this case, the SINFUL rose is still playing there. I was going to say more, but because it's a SINFUL rose, so you obviously got up to no good that evening. What else do I want to share on that? Nothing. Look, so this is a cool evening. I have been wearing it on a cooler evening or winter. Great for that. If Northern Hemisphere, if you do have access to this, I know that the MIHAN team are doing quite a bit of work in Germany. They have a German distributor who's really passionate about the work that they're doing. So if you do get a chance, Janik, for instance, get a chance to test out this SINFUL rose, I'd recommend it to you as a cool, as an evening fragrance in your summer. It will be pure magic. Really, really gorgeous. All right, the last two. So now, boom, boom. Yep, still got time. This is another Aussie house, which is FLANER. You guys know FLANER. I've been doing a promo for the last 6 weeks with their new Oud Noir. This is one of their early releases. So when they first started, they were about 2 years old. So they've been, personally, they're doing an awesome job. I commend them for their energy. They released this one here along with 4 or 5 others in that early collection. This again is a very clever rose fragrance. It's not rose forward at all. So this one here I defined as a dirty and dark rose. Dark? Did I say dark? Dry, sorry. A dirty and dry rose. So the name is Under the Rose, and the mental picture is exactly that. So you have like this, think of Alice in Wonderland. She's now shrunk down. She's now in the garden of, what was it called? The garden of something. I can't remember anyway. Sorry, my brain is like wants to, I do want to say, it's right here, all right? And she is under the rose, this beautiful green stemmed, and the rose is there. And that's what this fragrance is. You're feeling more of the dryness, the earthiness, the hay-like quality that is around you, under the rose, but that rose is still lending some of its scent profile to the atmosphere. When it opens up, I can't remember actually, I'm in the dry down now. When it opens up, peppery. It has this dry, black peppery sensation to it. There is a hay-like quality to it, as I mentioned. I almost feel, even though it doesn't get, it's not listed as this, but I almost feel a yerba mate element to it. So yerba mate comes in many different sort of nuances when it comes to its scent profile. One of the scent profiles is that it's very earthy green, hay-like, and there's a smokiness, like it has been in a smokehouse of some sort. And that's what I get on the opening of this. As it dries down, the rose begins to emerge. And if I'm not mistaken, the rose is actually in the opening of this fragrance. So it's wonderful the way that it comes forward in a very I guess, classic masculine way, dry, woody and herbal-like, and this peppery sensation to it. And then slowly, slowly, it begins to, slowly, this rose begins to emerge out of the fragrance. For boys who are not comfortable with rose at all, zero in rose or florals, Under the Rose is the one that I would recommend to you. It's fantastic for that. For people who want more of an overtly rose, then I don't recommend this one to you. This is very subtle when it comes to its rose profile. It has about 6 hours when it comes to its staying power and longevity, and then its sea agent projection falls into that. Moderate into tight, so it's not, so you'll have a confident moderate. This is now a little bit sort of closer to that, but it doesn't go into a body scent. People will detect the fragrance. It does have good presence in that regards. Oh, and I just wrote, okay, so yeah, 2 things. One, I said, I feel like this does lean a bit more masculine, even though there is a rose note in it. This would, for a female who wants to now be boss woman, and I wrote boss woman. Well, what is boss woman anyway? But someone who, you know, if you want to just have a bit more presence, you don't want to be too light and floral, and this is great if you're a woman. If you're a guy, fantastic and easy wear in that regards. And I would definitely classify this as a woody herbal fragrance with the rose touch, but definitely woody herbal is where it loves to live. Boom. All right, there's one more fragrance. I am going to stop because otherwise my camera's going to pop, and then we're wrapping this baby up. I'm back. All right, last one in the rose lineup. This would be more classic rose. The rose is glorious. It's resplendent. It shines with a heavenly glow. There's a halo and this backlit sort of light that emerges out of it. And that's Damask by ORMONDE JAYNE. This is gorgeous. So this I was gatekeeping. So because Sandra does not like very rose forward fragrances. She doesn't like, I mean, please. I kept it here in the office. This was the fragrance that I was using. Anyway, I'd come home and she'd be like, what are you wearing? That's divine. That's gorgeous. What are you wearing? I'm like, well, it's Damask. It's ORMONDE JAYNE, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but you won't like it for you because this is rose. She's like, I can smell the rose. It's gorgeous. Oh, anyway, that went on. Then I did it again and again. What are you wearing? I'm like, it's Damask. She's like, you need to bring that home. I'm like, babe, you're not going to like this. This is a rose forward fragrance. Guess who likes Damask? And again, look at the consumption of this thing. I get my OCD tweaks a little bit because I don't like seeing my bottles. I'm such a nerd. I don't like seeing my bottles like that. But at the end of the day, I get it. I buy a perfume so I can wear it, so I can use it. I get that. But it just looks sad like that. Anyway, so Sandra, another one, a person who doesn't like rose, has fallen in love with Damask. This is a very celebratory, I think that's the way you say it, a vibrant, exuberant style of fragrance. There is, and you know what? I don't want to go into too much detail because on the upcoming episode, I talk all about it. There's one particular note, and I don't want to say it because I do a bit of a, like a smell and tell me. So I'm smelling this note, and can you define what this note is? And I want to keep the suspense of that for the episode. Having said that though, there is a beautiful, sweet, fruity note on that opening that is just a knock out of the park. It's obviously a constructed note. For those who may have seen the episode that I did on how to extract fruit notes, actually watch this episode here. I mean, you can't, fruit is 70–80% water, so how can you extract any oils from that? So it's a constructed note. The constructed note here, which is listed, there's actually 2, it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So but it is a very rose forward fragrance because then those fruit notes wraps itself around this beautiful rose that's in the heart, and now you've got this divine, plump, pinky, Damascus rose in front of you with fat, juicy petals sort of prominent, displaying itself. It's just divine. It's just divine. Then on its dry down, it goes into this, again, I don't want to tell you. so you don't have to participate in the thing. You can watch the episode. But this Sunday, I will talk about where the fragrance evolves and what is, for me, the magic of this fragrance. And it was like an epiphany when I finally sort of, because I'm like, what is it that I'm detecting here? You know, there's something in that dry down that is, it just makes it so unique. The epiphany went up, and anyway, it's in the upcoming episode. This Sunday, I'll reveal the rest. But if you want a gorgeous, just, going out fragrance, something, if you've just achieved a major milestone in your life, you want to be wearing Damask, because that will lock in that scent profile, the experience, the moment. I tell you, every time you smell this, every time you smell a rose, this will pop forward. One thing that I do love about it, it does have a sugary effect. And one thing that I enjoy when I go to France is these beautiful rose petals that are lightly covered in sugar. It's such a delicate taste. And this is what I get. I get this beautiful rosy, sugary petal. Anyway, 8+ hours without a problem, and sea agent projection, you're in that very confident place. One that I'd strongly recommend to you. Please go out, test out Damask. ORMONDE JAYNE as a house overall is fantastic, and a massive recommendation. That's it. I think this is a world record. I think I'm going to do this in under 30 minutes, which is impressive. Thank you, everyone. Actually, I've got nothing else to say other than, again, blah, blah, blah. Again, one more time, Discovery Series this Sunday. Look forward to sharing that with you guys. If you're able to join me and get your own Discovery set, that would be amazing. Now, next week, I will be spinning the wheel for the members. If you'd like to become a member, it's $4. That gives you access to Discord. It also, well, we say thank you because it's a great support of the channel. And also next week you'll be in the wheel so that I spin twice. If you win, you tell me what you love. I will then organize a little bit of a care package, and I'll send that across to you with a number of samples, things that you love, and then some other extra little bits and pieces so that you can explore new things. Bada bing, we're done. Thanks everyone, hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you guys all on the next episode.